The sun rises and sets upon the city of Zaragoza. Ancient yet seemingly eternal, the spires of the towers of the Basilica del Pilar witness the passage of time as an unshakable fortress that has never been conquered. Centuries have passed since the cornerstone of this cathedral has been planted on the grounds of this ancient Roman city, and it has reigned over the skyline of Zaragoza ever since. Dominant, mighty, and even exaggerated, its dimensions on first glance will leave you in awe. The Basilica of Our Lady of the Pilar, located in the heart of the city of Zaragoza, is one of the most important architectural and spiritual treasures of Spain and of all Christianity. Its greatness lies not only in its monumental size, but also in its profound religious and historical symbolism. It stands majestically on the banks of the Ebro River, with its impressive towers and domes that seem to embrace the Aragonese sky, becoming an unmistakable landmark of the city. The history of the Basilica del Pilar is surrounded by legends and faith, being considered the first temple dedicated to the Virgin Mary in the history of Christianity. According to tradition, the Virgin appeared to the Apostle James the Greater in the year 40 AD while he was preaching in Hispania. It is said that the Virgin Mary, standing on a pillar of jasper, asked James to build a church in her honor, which led to the construction of a primitive chapel. This apparition is known as the miracle of Our Lady of the Pilar, and since then, the pillar on which the Virgin appeared has become one of the greatest symbols of devotion and pilgrimage. The exterior of the basilica is an impressive display of monumental architecture, reflecting the magnificence of this iconic large-scale temple. The predominant style of the basilica is Baroque. Its imposing main facade, which faces the Plaza del Pilar, is adorned with columns and arches that create a scene of verticality and grandeur. The facade combines classical elements with decorative details characteristic of the Baroque, such as cornices and pediments. One of the most distinctive elements of the exterior are the four immense towers that rise at the corners of the building, two on each side of the central nave. These towers, crowned by spires with geometric shapes, are a characteristic symbol of the basilica and can be seen from various points in the city, dominating the Zaragoza skyline. The towers were added in the 18th and 20th century, completing the current image of the building. The architectural complex is topped by a total of 11 domes, with the most notable being the central one, which stands out for its size. These domes are covered with brightly colored tiles, giving the basilica a unique and vibrant character. Before entering this magnificent temple, we cannot miss the chance to enjoy one of the most attractive aspects of a cultural visit to the basilica, enjoying the panoramic views of the entire city. This is done while ascending to one of the towers. The ascent is made via the panoramic elevator located in the San Francisco de Borja tower. After a 62-meter ascent in just 20 seconds, the visitor will encounter 2 flights of stairs before reaching the upper lookout. The large Ebro River and the Sea of Domes lie at the visitor's feet. A 360-degree view of Zaragoza from above, providing an awe-inspiring experience within one of the most important Marian sanctuaries in the Catholic world. The interior of the basilica is equally impressive, with majestic altars and richly decorated chapels. The main altar is dedicated to the Assumption of the Virgin, and the holy chapel that houses the sacred Pilar receives the veneration of thousands of pilgrims who come each year to pay homage. La Virgen de Pilar is small but full of meaning. For this reason, both for the chapter and for the devotees, the Basilica del Pilar needed to resemble the already existent Cathedral of El Salvador, known as La Seo. However, they enhanced the interior aesthetics following the model of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, by introducing monumentality, robustness, specific ornamentations, and absolute modernity. By the way, if you haven't already seen it, I'm leaving you in the description the link to the video of La Seo. That way you'll understand why Zaragoza is the only city in the world that has two cathedrals. As ornamentation goes, the famous painter Francisco de Goya painted some of the frescoes on the exterior vaults, such as those seen in the central dome. His work, The Adoration of the Name of God, is one of the most emblematic examples of his artistic contribution in the basilica. The main altarpiece is an artistic and sculptural masterpiece, featuring a composition with fully Renaissance figurative scenes, but also incorporating Gothic elements. It stands in the central part of the temple and was sculpted by Damian Forment in the 16th century in polychrome alabaster and dedicated to the Assumption of the Virgin. Its construction coincided with the completion of the works of the old temple and was made possible thanks to the financial contribution of Ferdinand II of Aragon and his wife, Doña Germana de Foyer. The entire altarpiece is framed by a dust cover carved in wood, the work of Miguel de Arbues, where the angels stand out on both sides, holding the chapter's shield of the Pilar as well as on the top of the altarpiece. In the altarpiece, you'll find the dome of the central nave under the paintings that depict the scenes of the coronation of the Virgin Mary over all the saints. Its height is 80 meters. The grand choir of the basilica is located at the foot of the central nave, directly in front of the main altarpiece. It comes from the old Gothic church, and it is in plateresque style, carved in oak from Flanders in the 1550s. Each seat is a true filigree of exquisite carving and perfect preservation. The work is enclosed by a large grille almost 10 meters in height and elevated in front. Along the walls surrounding the cathedral, there are 10 chapels. The tour begins with a visit to the chapel of St. John the Baptist, which is next to the main entrance of the basilica from the Plaza del Pilar. Adjacent to it is the chapel of St. James the Greater, or the Communion Chapel. The chapel, whose entrance is located directly below the Regina Martyrium dome and painted by Goya, is the chapel of St. Joachim. The chapel of St. Lawrence has a simple neoclassical altar, and the chapel of St. Peter of Arbues has a wooden altar imitating marble. The altar of the chapel of St. Augustine is a magnificent example of the late Baroque. The chapel of the Rosary has a simple wooden altarpiece in the Herrerian style. The chapels of St. Braulio, St. Antonio of Padua, with its striking black marble and toasted jaspers. The chapel of St. Joseph and the chapel of St. Anne will have a special charm, each with characteristic details reflecting the grandeur of the era. But the heart of the temple is without a doubt the Holy Chapel of Our Lady of the Pilar. This masterpiece is truly a small temple within another larger temple, namely the Basilica. Its entire architecture was the work of Ventura Rodriguez, who was also the designer of the chapel of the Royal Palace of Madrid. The chapel is a harmonious ensemble of columns, medallions, and decorative panels, an excellent example of Spanish Baroque. Its floor plan is oval and all its dimensions are symmetrical. This wonderful space features marble, stucco reliefs, and sculptures, along with glittered bronzes. The most significant feature is the image of the Virgin, placed on a column of jasper covered in bronze and silver. The image of the Virgen del Pilar that the faithful see in the Holy Chapel is crowned with an imperial crown and in the center with a halo of diamonds. The paintings on a dome above were created by the Madrid-born Antonio González Velázquez in the 1760s, representing an extraordinary novelty and serving as a true manifesto of Rococo painting in Spain. We also cannot forget the area known as the Humilladero, where visitors can kiss the Pilar that the Virgin gave to the Apostle James. It is located right behind the altar of the Holy Chapel. As an interesting fact, the feast day of Our Lady of the Pilar, the patroness saint of Zaragoza, is celebrated on October 12. This celebration dates back to 1492, when Christopher Columbus first discovered America, making it clear that there was a world beyond Hispania. For this reason, Our Lady of the Pilar is also the patroness of Hispanicity. It is tradition for people to walk along some of the city's most important streets carrying bouquets of flowers, dressed in the traditional costumes of Aragon and other regions of Spain, until they reach the Plaza del Pilar. There, an image of the Virgin is placed on top of a large metal pyramid-shaped structure where nearly 7 million red and white flowers are deposited. If you come to visit the Basilica, remember to get La Medida, a colorful blessed ribbon that you can place in your car, wallet, or wherever you want. It is very inexpensive and can be acquired in a room to the right just before the main entrance. La Basilica del Pilar is a pilgrimage center for people from Aragon, Spain, and also around the world. Millions of people visit every year to see the Virgin, to pray and celebrate the sacraments, to ask for grace and also to give thanks. My name is Alex Moraras. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, share, and definitely subscribe to find out more amazing places to visit before you come to Spain.